I was talking to a friend probably 3 or 4 years ago, and he said to me, okay, you're the president judge of Lebanon County. That must be a really big deal. What does it mean to be the president judge of Lebanon County? And I got to thinking about that, and I thought, you know, at that time I'd been a judge for 19 years, and I thought, you know, 19 years ago when I was running for judge, I wasn't thinking about running to become a president judge. I just wanted to be a judge and continue public service to this community. And I think now I have a little bit better perspective on what it means to be a president judge in a county of our size. Now, I am the president judge only because of longevity. I've been a judge for 23 years. Judge Klein, Sam Klein, is in his 19th year. He'll be up for retention next year. Judge Charles is in his 14th year, and Judge Jones, a local boy from out here, this part of the county, Judge Jones is in his 4th year. I think we work really well together, but I'm the president judge only because I've been here the longest. And I guess the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania arbitrarily decided that if you're in a county that has more than, well, that has 8 judges or more, you elect your president judge. If you're in a county that has less than 8 judges, clearly the person who's been there the longest is the smartest, so he gets to become the president judge. And I tell my fellow judges when we're talking about things in-house, I say, you know, I don't have this job because I'm the smartest. I've just been here the longest, and I guess the thought is with experience comes wisdom, and hopefully that's true. I'm not really sure. But I would liken my job to really being the CEO of a small corporation that fits into an overall county-wide corporate structure, which then fits into an overall statewide corporate structure. The court system traditionally is really in charge of a number of different departments, not just actual court employees, court administrative employees, but I also oversee the domestic relations department. Those folks are court-related employees that are really somewhat in my control. The probation departments in Lebanon County, the magisterial district justice offices and their employees, and the constables all kind of fall within my authority, if you will. I have more authority over some of those groups than others, is what I would suggest. The constables being an interesting group of folks. There's about 150 people that fall within those groups. And you folks, as residents of Lebanon County, really don't know how lucky you are with regard to some of these departments and the people that work in those departments. You have a hard-working domestic relations office. You have a very hard-working probation services department. In domestic relations, our domestic relations office collects almost $17 million a year in ongoing child support and spousal support payments. They oversee approximately, on average, about 4,400 cases a year. We have never failed to meet the federal guidelines of collection of at least 80% of the outstanding support obligations that are owed on cases in Lebanon County, and as a result of that, we get our full reimbursement. That's why we get the full 2/3 reimbursement from the federal government, because that department never fails, across 6 different categories, never fails to hit that 80% mark. And if you looked at the numbers, you would see most years we're way above 80%. And you should be proud to live in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, by the way. The Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is the #1 state, and has been for a decade, on the collection of child support and spousal support in the United States of America. You should be equally proud of our probation department. Now, one of the things we just did about 1.5 years ago, which was really a substantial change for us, we used to have a separate adult probation department and a separate juvenile probation department with a separate director for each of those departments. And after looking at things and looking at some possibilities that were available, I decided that we would combine those departments into now an overall department that we call Probation Services, with one person in charge, and that individual is Sally Berry. And again, you folks should feel fortunate that we have Sally Berry as our Director of Probation Services. She oversees both of those departments. Our adult probation department, on average, has an active caseload of more than 1,800 folks that are being supervised by that department. Last year, our costs and disbursement unit portion of our adult probation office collected nearly $4 million in fines, costs, and restitution. And nearly $1.8 million of that amount went into the general fund of Lebanon County. They do a fantastic job, not just collecting money, but really supervising individuals. And we have some real innovative things that have happened in our probation department. We have specialized probation officers for a mental health caseload, for sex offenders. Our mental health caseload officer is someone who just started at the time we made the decision to combine the departments, and he has an active caseload of about 35 individuals. We have a dedicated probation officer for drug and alcohol individuals. And you should know that, and you're probably aware of this, the issue with regard to drugs and alcohol is just so significant. If you would look at the people that are in the Lebanon County prison or the people that are in the state prison system, probably 80 to 90% of those people have a substance abuse problem. They have issues that need to be dealt with, and frankly, I believe would be dealt with more appropriately perhaps outside the strict judicial system, but really in a lot of cases that's what we're left with in terms of being able to try to deal with those issues. But we do have dedicated POs, probation officers, again, for drug and alcohol issues, sexual offenders who really, when they're in the community, need much closer supervision, obviously, many more contacts with the department, and for the mental health individuals who really kind of fall in the same category. They need much closer interaction, much more frequent interaction with their probation officer. We are fortunate to have one of the premier long-term drug treatment programs in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, unique to Lebanon County, and that's our Renaissance Crossroads program. It's a program that was started about 12 years ago in partnership with the VA hospital, and it's actually located on the grounds of the VA hospital, the inpatient portion of that program. And it is unique in Pennsylvania. It's a 34-month program that's operated on a county basis where we take individuals who might be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7-time offenders who have a determined drug or alcohol issue. And the conscious decision is made, look, if we're ever going to stop this cycle of reoffending for this individual, we're not going to do it by putting them in the state prison. We're going to do it by providing a long-term treatment program for them. And we've had really significant success at Renaissance Crossroads. But again, 34-month program, in-house, on the grounds of the VA hospital. And we have a great relationship with the VA. Approximately 6 years ago, we started our Dui Court Program in Lebanon County. That is a program that's specifically for individuals who come through the court system and they're on either their second or third DUI charge. And it's an effort to provide a treatment modem for these folks so that we're not looking at them 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, coming back again on DUI number 4, 5, or 6, or whatever it might be, but really trying to provide a treatment modem for them so that they deal with those issues and they aren't repeat offenders. And that program has been tremendously successful. We have about an 85% success rate, and we judge success by whether or not, at least right now, by whether or not the person has reoffended in any way, not just for a DUI charge, but in any way, 2 years out from their graduation from the program. So we currently have about an 85% success rate. The only problem that I see with our DUI court program is that there are limited numbers of folks. It's funded primarily from a grant with the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency, and it limits us to 70 participants in the program. And it also restricts the number of offenses that an individual can have to get into the program. Like I said, it's a second or third offender. Now, just recently we made a change with our DUI court program. Previously, we took just offenders that had alcohol issues, that their DUI was an alcohol-related DUI, but we now have the flexibility to have folks who have a DUI because they're under the influence of a drug other than alcohol. And I think that's a positive step that we have made a positive change in that regard. In our juvenile arena, we had a tremendous thing happen this year with the support of the county commissioners, and we now have operating in Lebanon County a day reporting center for juvenile offenders. And what that gives us is the ability to treat kids in the community, keep them in the community, but provide the kind of treatment and support that they need. There's a vocational aspect to the program. If they need drug and alcohol treatment, we have that available. If they need mental health treatment, we have that available. As we find very common with juveniles, it's not just the juvenile that needs to be treated, but it's also a lot of times the family. So we have family counseling available. Now, our day reporting center for juveniles just opened at the beginning of July. We're going to have the formal grand opening and ribbon cutting, I think, in September sometime, so you'll see the picture in the newspaper. Hopefully you'll be there, Commissioner. I'm going to try to be there. But it is such a positive thing. And the great thing about it is we provide to these kids exactly what they need. They remain in the community, and we save money to boot. When we were placing kids in placement facilities outside this county, you would be amazed at what we were being charged. Some of them are specialized treatment facilities. If you have a sex offender in juvenile court and they need specialized treatment, we're paying $425 a day to have that individual treated outside the community. We had kids in placement, not sex offender kids, but kids in placement outside the community that we now can treat inside the community with our day reporting center, that we were probably paying $265 a day for placement outside the community. And we're now convinced that we can provide the same services they need at the rate of about $120 a day. So when you think of the savings that will accrue, it's great. But it isn't just about money in the juvenile system, and I appreciate the support that we've had in the court system from the county commissioners. And this group of commissioners has realized just that when you're dealing with kids, when you're dealing with juveniles, it can't always just be about money, how much this is going to cost. It has to be the appropriate level of service. And in the juvenile system, we use a risk and needs assessment tool. The county commissioners, I think, are well aware of that and how that how that comes into play in terms of the type of services that we provide for juveniles. Now, hopefully, in the near future, we'll be using that same kind of assessment tool in our adult system. It's a tool developed by psychologists, of course, that really focuses on what the needs of the individual are and what services we should be providing for each of those individuals. And really, the State Board of Probation and Parole excuse me, requires us to have an individualized treatment plan for every person who is on supervision, every adult who is on supervision. We need to have that type of plan where we identify their needs and we come up with a program internally as to how we are going to deal with those needs. So I'm really excited about that. We're going to be, excuse me, we're going to be getting into that hopefully next year. But I think it's really a positive thing. Those kinds of reactions to criminal behavior are really evidence-based reactions where we've assessed the situation, we have the research, we identify the need, and we treat that need. Because you folks, I know, are all smart enough to understand that someone who commits a crime, or not every person that commits a crime, needs to go to jail. Jail can be a really negative thing. It can be a divisive thing. It can be a negative educational thing, by the way, for people. And not everybody needs to go to jail. So these alternatives that we're looking at now in the adult system, we were looking at them in the juvenile system as well, are really positive things, I think, for our county. And I hope we are able to make that move in the adult system next year.